Good morning, everyone. I take this privilege to introduce today's speaker, Parag Kulkarni garu. Parag Kulkarni is a marathon runner, TEDx speaker, husband of a bright doctor, and above all, a dreamer. He loves to write poetry and articulate his creative and innovative thoughts and deliver them through his passionate talks. He is also an entrepreneur, machine learning researcher, and author of best selling innovation strategy, ML, and data science books. An avid reader, Parag holds bachelor's from Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli in 1990, PhD from IIT Kharagpur in 2001, management education from IIM Kolkata, and was conferred higher doctorate DSc by UGSM Monarch, Switzerland in 2010. He is the first higher doctorate in the area of knowledge innovation. Parag's machine learning ideas resulted in pioneering products and have become commercially successful and produced unprecedented impact. He delivered over 1,000 keynote addresses and 200 plus tutorials across the globe. Over 1,000 institutes and 1 lakh professionals benefited from Parag's talks, research, and systematic consultations. Parag helped underperforming professionals, startups, and students to transform into happy and passionate warriors. Fellow of the IET, IETE, and senior member of IEEE, Parag is recipient of Oriental Foundation Scholarship, Distinguished Alumnus Award, WCE Sangli, and was nominated for prestigious Bharat Nagar Award in 2013 and 2014. He was also awarded IETE KR Fatke Award for Innovative Entrepreneurship and Research in 2009. We welcome you, sir, on behalf of ICMACC conference team. And today, sir will be addressing the topic Choice Computing, a Humanism and Systematic AI for Choosing. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Many thanks and very good morning to all of you. Dear friends, it's my privilege to discuss with you and talk about this interesting area, which actually I started venturing into last 4 5 years. Actually, the very inspiration for choice computing is book Nudge by Richard Thaler. And I will be talking about this very interesting book also during our discussion. Dear friends, let me begin with a very interesting story. Actually, this is from the book Sapiens by Harari. It's a bestseller and one of the must-read book, and I think many of you might have read it. So what Harari claims that around 4 lakh to 5 or 6 lakh years ago, on this, our planet, there were two species exactly like us, or not exactly, but very similar to us. One of them were Neanderthals, and next one was Homo sapiens. Neanderthals were huge, maybe 6 feet, 6.5 feet, 7 feet in height, very strong, very organized. On the other hand, Homo sapiens were weak. They were agile, but a very short, maybe 5 feet, 5.5 feet height. And on any day, if Homo sapiens would have confronted Neanderthals could have crushed them within no time. But dear friends, it did not happen. We, the Homo sapiens, survived. Neanderthal became extinct or transformed. Again, it will depend on the theory which you read. But at least they are no more on this earth. And we, Homo sapiens, are ruling the world. And when Harari took crack at this issue, why did it happen? So he thinks that it is not very statistical, but it is about agility. It is very behavior oriented and not data science oriented. So if you look at it, it is the agility, freedom, choosing, learning from uncertainty that actually allowed Homo sapiens to survive. It is ability to choose in scenario of uncertainty. And that is motivation for today's talk. That is motivation for my book, Choice Computing. That is motivation for research in choosing. And many researchers are working into this area and trying to do research. And I will talk about this in a bit more. But let me begin with one of my poems. I met a product. I met a product that wanted to learn, sensing all the data, keen to change the world. I met a product that wanted to learn, sensing all the data, keen to change the world. I spoke to product to understand the problem, wrote some code to make it learn again. Product never learned, kept fooling me for years, taking all my data, left me only in tears. AI is thinking and breaking old patterns. It is not just teaching machines, but saving your intelligence. So basically, what I wanted to say that AI is more becoming humanish, and probably this is the time the paradigm of AI is going to change. These are some of my books: Choice Computing, AI, Reverse Hypothesis Machine Learning, and so on. These are other books. Those are published, and some of them are really doing good. Even I have written few fictions also. And this widely year down fiction was adapted for TV serial by Sony TV. There are few upcoming books. I'm writing one digital business innovation with Prentice Hall and Saptarshi with another publication. This is some glimpse from my book Knowledge Innovation Strategy and some articles in Japanese newspaper regarding about this. So let me begin with a book, again another book, very interesting book by Sheena Iyengar, Art of Choosing. Because these two books, Nudge and Art of Choosing, are my motivation. Long back, when I had an interview with Ratan Tata, maybe around 7-8 years back, he had made a very interesting statement. What he said, we are empowering customers to choose the right product. Then in 2015, I read this book, Art of Choosing by Sheena Iyengar. Sheena Iyengar is a professor, business professor at Columbia University. And she's one of the best professors. She got a Best Professor Award for 10 consecutive years. And one of the, I think she's celebrity, you can search for her. And she's blind from the age of 4. Anyway, her story apart, what she actually described in this book is that when we choose, we have many choices. Because you can't choose if you have only one option. And there could be one basic choice, that whether to fight or surrender. And that choice is there if you can think both things are possible and there are limitless options even in these directions. So she has given one story in this book that there were around 50, they have experimented, and this experiment was conducted by someone else, and she might have referred in her book that they conducted experiment with a few hundred rats of same species and same strength. And they put those rats in the water. Rats can swim, so most of the rat kept swimming. They kept watching them, and interestingly, most of the rats surrender in 2-3 hours and drown. Few rats kept swimming maybe till 5, 6, 7 hours. But interestingly, around 5% rat kept swimming for 70 plus hours. So she made a statement, rather a bold statement, that 95% chose to surrender, 5% chose to fight. Now, what they did in the next round, they put these rats in the water for some time, removed them. Then they put them another, let's say 20 minutes, removed them. They put them in the water for 30 minutes, removed them. And now after this training, they put these rats in the water. And interestingly, this time 90% of rats kept swimming for 70 plus hours. Only 10% or less than that surrendered in first 10 hours. So what she concluded that we can empower them to choose the right thing. Correct? We can empower living organisms to choose the right thing. And second thing is, you can choose if you think that situation is in your control. These are two very important aspects of choosing. And when we will talk about machine learning and choosing, we'll touch on these two aspects. So if you look from data science perspective, there is one very interesting book, Factfulness. This guy talks about right numbers and wrong insights. So many times pattern tells something but fail to conclude. So maybe you have pattern, maybe how Amazon products are bought, which products people are buying, but they can't take you to decision. Mean may not be a good idea, and there is one example in this book. What this guy mentioned, that SAT scores of the girls, average SAT scores of the girls is less than average SAT score of the boys, based on the statistics. So the conclusion is average SAT score in mathematics of the girls is less than average SAT score of the boys. And what they concluded that the boys are better in mathematics than girls. And this guy takes the opposite stand. He says it doesn't make sense because this number doesn't tell you anything. If you look at actual numbers, then there is a 90% of the overlap. So 90% of the boys and girls scored the same numbers in mathematics. So 10% boys perform better and 10% girl perform lower than that range. So making a general statement that boys perform better is meaningless. And such many meaningless insights are drawn through the data. So mean is too mean, distribution is distracting. So what matters is a human factor, human insight. And choice intelligent systems can help us to do that. And those can be used for even healthcare, because this we are working with many companies in Japan for this. So this is that Factfulness book where data fails to tell the true story. Humanish way is at the rescue. Data may be right, insights are wrong. Data and behavior leads to failure. Instincts that distorts our perspective of the world, because there are some instincts and those are inbuilt instincts. And all these data science thing actually, rather than clearing that instinct, actually works on those instincts to give us wrong insights. So mean versus spread, or the addiction of two extreme class, or number of such things really cripple the present data science technique, or present data science, which is actually one of the, but it's actually there is too much to be done from the research perspective. And I think all you researchers can do wonderful things in this area. I will introduce this book again, another book which actually I started in the beginning, Nudge, which is by Richard Thaler. He's a Nobel laureate. He talks about two important things: choice, economics, and freedom. So he has a very interesting story in his book. What he tells that there was a canteen in one of the schools, And what they did observe, that most of the students or those kids from the school, they were actually going for junk food. Though there were many good options of healthy food, very few students were trying to pick the healthy option. They tried to reduce the price of healthy options. They tried to put a lot of slogans that, okay, eat this, eat oat and become something, or eat this thing. Nothing did work. Then they contacted one choice architect. He said that this is not a problem, this is a choice problem. You are not empowering them to choose. And empowerment is very human factor driven rather than it is a statistics driven. So what they did few very small things. They simply played with the menu card or menu board, whatever it may be, was there in that particular canteen. First thing, they arranged the healthy food items, those exactly at the eye level of the student. Second thing, they made just those healthy items to stand out, and they made few small things here and there. Interestingly, the consumption of healthy food increased by 20-30%. And you can actually check the exact number from in that book. The crux of the story is that it is, you can't just have a product displayed, but you can make individuals to choose. So I tried to define based on that what is a choice architecting. The choice architecting is about removing the constraints, those are failed, and putting the constraints, those are not failed, to maximize the freedom with the objective of well-directed outcome. So for example, we may want the clean India. So probably it's a choice architecting problem. It's not just a statistical problem or something like that. Or if we want, let's say, water conservation, it's a choice architecting problem. Or maybe we want, let's say, startups from India to work in particular area. This is choice architecting problem. Like you can't solve the problem with the same tools as said by Einstein. We can't actually solve the choice problems by statistics. You can't actually ignore the statistics. I'm not saying that statistics is not useful. The thing is that we have to look at the choice aspects of this problem. So this inspired this book, and this choice computing book has these major 8 components. It talks about cooperative choosing. So how more than one individual or more than one machine can work together to choose. It talks about how creative choice making can be done. And is there a possibility of creative agent like there we have intelligent agent, and how it could be, what could be its architecture. Then choice architecting. So there is a choice path. Choice is not a movement. Choice is a movement, but a path leads to that movement. For example, you go to a shop and you choose certain product. It's the movement, and that movement you want to buy that product. If it is delayed, probably you may not buy that product. For example, if you're surfing something and you want to buy a particular product, the Amazon is displaying. And suppose that moment someone calls you and you just, let's say, logged off. You may not buy that product for the rest of your life. So it is a choice movement. It happens with the books, because I like to read book. I have more than 1,000 books, book collection at my place, at my home, and around 2,000 books on my Kindle. But the question is, suppose I go to Crossword or any other bookshop, and at a particular moment I think that I want this book. I may buy that book and may not read after taking home for a couple of months also. But but suppose because of some distraction or something, I did not buy that book. I many times it happened that I didn't buy that book for next few months also, and probably even rest of my life. So that choice movement need to be captured by AI and machine learning, and how it is to be done. I will tell you one very interesting story of Japanese entrepreneur Jun. He's working in this area. Then there could be a bio-inspired choice computing, because it's again human-inspired. So we can look into. There are AI aspects like choice agent and something like that. And then I talked about machine learning, consciousness, and uncertainty, because choice many times we make choice in uncertain environment. We have built a product for deciding the buying movement, and Tata Consumer is using that product for last 24 months. So anyway, I will come to this example later. Anyway, this is a very interesting example, but I have to keep track of time. So I'll come to this example later. Uh, but anyway, uh, what I will do, I will tell you the story of Yutaka Yamagashi, a racer from Japan. He's a racer and AI enthusiast. So what he tells that when you are racing when there is a car racing, you make many decisions. When those decisions are not decisions but choices, there is a very high chance of winning. He said that they have a lot of data sheets they use, and they make a lot of decisions, even changing the wheel and all that. I have put the detailed case study in my book. The question remains that crucial this choice. I'm not talking a decision. I want to differ. I want to differentiate between two things: selection and choice. Choice is about freedom, and selection is about constraints. For example, when you are in a shop with unlimited money, and you want to buy some garment or maybe some product, you are in choice mode because there is no constraint. You think, okay, you can choose now. So what the feeling is that there is no constraint, choices are unlimited, and you know you can control the choice. So what this guy Richard Thaler thinks that this is a mental state rather, because this freedom is felt. This freedom is felt. To feel that you are in control of the situation, you feel that you can choose it. So just many times you have a lot of options. Still, you may not be in choosing mode because your mind. So it's about feeling. Now, suppose I want to take a person on a particular track, or I want him or her to buy a particular product. I have to choice architect the behavior of the consumer. I was talking to an entrepreneur in Japan, Mr. June. He implemented some choice architecting in the real estate. So what his objective was, before June has started the company, which is one of the very leading company in real estate. Uh, the life for someone who is searching houses or searching accommodations in Japan, those are from the Asian countries and do not know Japanese. It's very difficult. And June thought that probably he has to make them choose the right accommodation. So he classified all these professionals coming to Japan from different countries like Vietnam, then India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan, and so on and so forth. Many countries, basically Asian countries. So he realized that they work on two types. One is the deadline driven approach, and one is the infinite bandwidth approach. So what he realized that suppose, for example, there is one software professional, he lands in Japan and now his family is supposed to come by end of next month. They want to make that choice before that particular date. So he has, let's say he has 20 options. He organizes those options, order them, and then he introduces surprises just before the deadline, which leads to the choice point and which leads those professionals choosing right accommodation. So far, he has given this accommodation to 5 lakh professionals coming to Japan. Another in this infinite bandwidth approach, he knows that this guy is not in a hurry. He doesn't have deadline. So he wants to wait. So these surprises needs to be organized very well. And those should be achieved the maximum impact that leads to the choosing. So he organizes all the possibilities in such a way that the surprise has a sudden and slightly long-lasting impact, and then again some sort of dull period, and again there is these surprises. And he claims that such series of surprises, typically 2 or 3, result in the person choosing that particular accommodation. I even talked to another entrepreneur, Yoshi Yomane. He's CEO of Mogic. Mogic is a learning management system. And LMS is very common nowadays. And in COVID, people are using LMS. And there are too many LMS in the world. So this is a very populated and, let's say, difficult area to enter into. So what Yamane did, he actually creates the choice paths. Those are visiting their learning management systems. So he had very interesting theory. He said that most of the learning management systems are easy to enter, difficult to exit. Okay, and most of the products are like that. Many times you have very less efforts to enter, but very difficult to change. Even mobiles used to be like that, that you entered that particular service and then you find it very difficult to exit. So what he did, he said, no, it should be easy to enter, easy to exit. Okay. But what he worked on choice paths. So this learning management systems creates the path to choose for the user. And these paths contribute to the value at every choice point. And interestingly, he attracted, he could make this Mogic one of the most successful LMS in Japan. Now, this is a very popular example. You know that these two lines look very similar. Or maybe someone will say that the line which is below is longer, but typically it's not. So right versus what seems right. Selection to choosing. So all these aspects of AI and choice computing is convert this selection into choices. So how to do that? So there could be imposition, there could be imposition-based interactions, there could be selection-based interactions, and there could be choice-based interactions. So choosing in behavior is understanding the behavior of humans and animals. So it touches the behavior. So there are three aspects of choice computing. One aspect is making machine to choose for you. Correct? So machine should be intelligent to choose. There are many complications when we are making machine to choose, but definitely it's possible. Second idea is helping human to choose. So machine is helping us to choose. A very rudimentary form is a recommender system. Recommenders, Amazon recommend you product. It's a very rudimentary form of, because they, but for example, let's say you go with your friend to select a product. And let's say Amazon is recommending a system. Those are completely two different things. So can machine work as this? And machine can help us to choose. That is second aspect. And third aspect is two machines, two humans, or humans and machines cooperatively choose the solutions. So if you look at healthcare, there are multiple possibilities we can look at. For example, we find that everyone knows that, okay, you should exercise. Doctor tells you to exercise. You may have even devices like pedometer, or maybe all modern devices, they can measure everything. Even from your Nike shoes to Apple phone, everything is connected. Still, we recently surveyed not more than 10% people do the regular exercise. Correct? Because it's no longer a choice computing is used there. So changing the behavior through choosing. I have one very interesting case study of my friend Biren Hora. Biren is the CEO of the company Global Kutch. Global Kutch has idea that choice architect the habits of farmers for the water conservation. So same way, we want a changing the behavior through choosing. So we want the behavior to making things available, allowing the options in such a way that constraints are not felt. So we can choice architect healthy habits, like it is done in the canteen of the USA, like Richard Thaler said, or it could be what Biren is doing in Global Kutch. Choice architect, it could be for healthy lifestyle and ultimately for healthy society. Actually, I think there's too much theory about choice. I will like to tell you one very interesting story. And long back, I was pursuing my PhD at IIT Kharagpur. It's now close to more than 25 years back. And my guide was a wonderful person, and he formed one research group. I was working at that time on dynamic load balancing on network of workstations. And I had two very good, very, very bright individuals with me. One, Rohil Muktibodh, he was a MTech computer guy and another was a BTech student, Shama. So what Shama used to think always differently. So if anyone has visited IIT Kharagpur, it's a huge campus, more than 2,200 acres. To be exact, it's almost 22 times of CMU campus and 3 or 4 times of IIT Bombay campus. So it's pretty huge. It nothing to do with the area. It doesn't matter. The only why I'm bringing this point, because Because it's a huge campus, there used to be grass everywhere. And you know that maintenance is always challenging for such a huge campus. And they used to deploy the grass cutters. If anyone knows, they use sword-like device and they cut like this. So one fine day, I was standing with these two guys outside BC Roy Hall. BC Roy Hall is Bidhan Chandra Roy Hall, which is named after that Chief Minister of West Bengal. And we were discussing about my load balancing thing. Uh, I was almost, I was doing pretty good, got some good papers, and one more paper, probably my PhD is through. Rohil was in his last semester, Shama was also in his last semester. So I told them, these guys are focus on this result. I want these results desperately. आप लोग तो बीटेक एमटेक करके चले जाओगे, मैं यहाँ रहूंगा दीपेंदु की तरह. In BC Roy Hall, those days, Dibendu was a term because Dibendu was doing his PhD for 7 years or something like that. So that was the problem. So I told him, these guys, but Shama अलग ही तरह देख रहा था. Shama बोल रहा था कि ये बंदा ना he's cutting the grass is not doing properly. मैंने Shama को बोला, Shama, focus on your work. Why you're let him cut that grass. Focus on this paper. Yaar. We want this load balancing paper out. Shama said he's not doing right, but Shama was very good at coding, and I was not in position to oppose him that time. So मैंने बोला ठीक है यार, बोल क्या बोलता है. तो हम वो बंदे के पास गए, वो घास काट रहा था. तो Shama told him, come on, let's go to hospital. That guy was really shocked. He बोले hospital क्यों जाना है? So बोले I want to take you to hospital. He said यार मेरा दिन का 60 रुपए या कुछ तो मिलता है. I can't afford to lose that money. So Shama ने जेब से 100 रुपया निकाला. He gave that guy and we took him to BC Roy Hospital. Hospital का नाम भी BC Roy ही है IIT खड़गपुर की. Probably PhD वालों को ज़्यादा ज़रूरत पड़ती होगी. I don't know the exact reason. So we got him. Then Shama ne bataya, and then we took him to orthopedic surgeon. He got the X-rays of that person's right hand from different angles. And then what that orthopedic surgeon concluded, that device is using for grass cutting has some issue, and because of the chronic pressure, there is a possibility of long-term damage to the right hand of that person. Shama bola ki dekh, main bata raha tha na, there is an issue. And what Shama did in next 1 month or so, Shama developed a portable grass cutting machine, which has some hydraulic mechanism, a battery which can actually sense the pressure applied, and based on pressure, some sort of control system. Actually, I can call it an AI system because it has all the components we talk about AI agent. It has sensors, it has actuators, it has some sort of agent function. To be honest, that was the first AI system which actually satisfies the definition of AI I have seen. And it has a lot of mechanical components, which has sensors, those can sense the pressure applied, those can sense the grass underneath, there were blades underneath, and then the pressure applied, if increases beyond certain limit, then you can cut the grass and throw it into bin. I do agree it has a lot of control system type of component, but definitely control system, if someone has to define, it's a very rudimentary. So what Shama did, Shama applied a learning component. So based on the pressure applied, it decides the best pressure for the user. So imagine that concept in 1997-96 was an amazing concept. And what he had a statement that now these grass cutters can choose how much pressure they can apply. So probably what I thought, maybe I'm talking about choice computing now after 25 years, but Shama did it 25 years back. May not be under formal name. So he even developed a tricycle, if you know that these are human-driven tricycles in Kharagpur area, Now those are changed. I haven't visited IIT Kharagpur for a long time, but definitely I would be visiting very shortly. So basically, embedding the intelligence and abilities into machine is AI, and we have a lot of definitions. Same way, there could be a creative system, a collection of processes, natural or technological, which are capable of achieving or simulating human behavior, which, if exhibited by humans, would be deemed creative. So, same way we can define a choice agent. So, this is typical reinforcement learning we are talking about, which is rewards and penalties, which comes with the data. And then this is a typical agent, but I modified it a bit with choice evaluation. And this choice evaluation can help us to decide what to choose. And you can even, the choices, what is to be done with the choices? The choices can be arranged. Choices will be glorified or maybe some sort of underlined. Choices will be presented. And finally, choice paths architected with reinforcement. So the idea is, if you are to define this choice computing in simple way, it is reinforcement learning where paths are charted. Choice paths are charted with the evolution or with the available of additional choices in such a way that the constraints are not felt by the customers. So idea is basically choice architecting for the customers. Choice architecting is always used in the positive way. The idea is to make the healthy choice, give the healthy food. We don't want to, so there is a choice space, there could be reward and penalties. And the way we have learning choice strategy, we could have choosing strategy. We talked about these examples, Global Kutch, June. There is outdoor management. So these appraisals are done. If you look at most of the appraisals done in the company or educational systems, there are two aspects to it. Either they are very subjective or they are very statistical. So what is meant by subjective? Sometimes if you are not good terms with your manager, probably you may not get good appraisals. Like the forced ranking, which is popularly used by GE and other companies. They want to rank everyone. So if the philosophy of forced ranking is like that, every individual has a single rank. So it could not be like that, both employees are number one. No. One employee is number one and another is number two. Right? And second thing is everyone is ranked and everyone gets a unique number. And then the philosophy of forced ranking is you remove employees, those are in the lower region, and recruit those are better than the best. Anyway, whether that's a great strategy or not, that is a different thing. I don't want to talk about it. Jack Welch was a great fan of it. And he claims that GE was successful because of this policy. But the idea this company has that this appraisals cannot be just based on whether projects are completed or not. Because what many times happens that the individuals do not get to work on a particular thing. Typically, the philosophy is that, for example, if you are working in a particular area, you may excel. So there could be a point in the projects where individuals have performed exceptionally well, but probably didn't do very well in other areas. So this outdoor management system tries to work on these aspects by assessing the choosing abilities of the individual in the outdoor setup. So this is more like a management philosophy. Like you put all the software employees to play a game. Let's say maybe they are playing some group game, and that will point to check which portion or which part to be used for appraisal. So identifying the part of the project, company project, which is mapping to their performance in the group exercise and helping them to choose the project part as part of their appraisal, and then appraising them based on performance in that particular part. And interestingly, it works. Even if you read this book, Black Swan, by Taleb, he talks about uncertainty. Also, he talks about one concept which is called as anti-knowledge. So what we had one very interesting experiment. In our company, we wanted to recruit few employees for our crucial development exercise. And that time I had finished this book, reading this book, Black Swan. So I thought maybe I should do it in slightly different way. So I told my students, because I was PhD guide at externally, though externally I was guiding few PhD students at COEP. Actually, I was first PhD guide at COEP in computer engineering. So I told them that just whoever you know, ask them to contact, but they should not write their qualification. They should not write their what exactly they know. They should not write their percentage. They should not write their college. What they should write, they should read this JD, that is job description, and just mention what they don't know from that job description. And that I called as anti-resume. It's not a resume. It's an anti-resume. So because what happens that many times you may judge a person based on that. If you based on the academic institute, then probably no one would have selected Satya Nadella. Right? My classmate, she became CEO of Chanel, Leena Nair. Right? She did her BTech from Walchand. Okay? No Stanford, no Harvard, no IIT, no IIM. She is CEO of Chanel, a multi-billion company. Right? And the first CEO, Asian, and first lady CEO of one of the biggest companies in Europe, Leena Nair.
Hello, sir. Sorry
Yeah.
to disturb you.
Huh.
Sir, next keynote speaker is waiting, sir.
Okay. So what I will do, I will just go to conclusion quickly. Thank you for connecting, but maybe there are some choice models which probably some other time we can discuss in detail, and few more case studies we have. But I will just conclude with this poem. Then you can enlighten the world. Everyone is running after the goal with all stress and strength. Everyone is forcing team as a whole in the storm and the rain. Sometimes I wonder and ask myself, do I know the real goal? While running fast all along, have I forgotten my true role? It goes like that. It is the rat race. Body gets tired, so our soul. Success we get without success. Deadlines are made sometimes. Those are missed many times. We try to laugh to show we are happy. We try to balance on the surface sloppy. Today, when I am looking back, there are just pieces of thoughts, less success and more loss, no light and everything is dark. Let me tell you the only fact, light is inside and outside is dark. Look inside for the light and goal. Then you can enlighten the world whole. So thank you. If you have any questions, please. Anyone has any question? Yeah, any question? Okay, if there is no question, I will stop here and definitely we'll meet sometime. If you have any question, please contact me. You can find my details at drparagkulkarni.com and can get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very informative session. We want your presence at our college next time whenever you are visiting to India. So definitely we need your presence, sir. So we want to motivate all our faculty and students.